What is going on, kids? So, hunting season's over. So, guess what? We're back to livestock. Yay! So, we're going to do a little bit of a different video today. We just got a beef scun out, split, ready to go in the cooler. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you somewhat proper lifting techniques dealing with hot carcasses. If anyone has ever heard the phrase dead weight, this is it. Because that's all it is. This is a lowline Angus Charolais cross. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So it is a little bit bigger than a regular lowline. It's probably going to hang at around 500 pounds is what I'm kind of guessing out of this. I'll put it right here, so I know where to edit. And we'll get a weight on that and everything. But I do not have a rail system set up in my shop. I would love to. It's not in the cards at the moment. At some point, maybe. So I'm doing everything Planet Fitness style.
I lift things up and put them down.
So I'm going to show you the best way to do it. I break my beef down into either 6s or 8s. If this was a 900-pound beef, I'd be breaking it into 8s. Just because, one, it's easier, and two, I only hang my beef for about a week. The industry standard, like if you're going to a USDA facility, is about 2 weeks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I break down the beef more in depth. I know I've definitely showed it a handful of times on just the regular beef slaughter videos, but it's usually super quick and whatever. So this time I'm doing an in-depth kind of talk on how I do it and how we get everything set up. So what I'm going to do, I am going to get some gloves on and kind of get the shop set up to get everything in the cooler. So we'll see you guys in a second. All right, so first off, I'm just going to do a quick walk around, just look at what we're using. So usually I have rope that I use to hang the quarters on. Again, I'm just getting back in the livestock and I completely forgot to pick some up. I ran out right before wild game season. So we're here. So for the forequarters, what we're going to be using are long hooks. That's these guys right here. These guys work great. I do use these with the rope most of the time. This time I am just going to hook it right to the carcass and we're going to hang right off that. I also have a smaller hook that you'll see how that gets implemented in a second. My regular knives, everything like that. We'll take a walk. In here, I have my Sawzall that I use to split everything. We have our winch set up with our scale. So everything will come from the slaughter floor into here, get a weight on it, and then we will bring it into the cooler. So now we're in the walk-in. Everything is going on this side. I usually like to have a milk crate in here to be able to get up onto the hook. I'm 6 foot or 6'4", so this is about 7.5 feet up to there. So it's always interesting, usually fun, but that's why it is super important to have good lifting techniques when it comes to all this. I have hurt myself a ton of times, for sure. Hold on one second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. I've hurt myself a ton of times just because of being stupid and the fact that my job is to throw around dead animals for a living. But before that, which is somewhat of a blessing, is I did do a decent amount of powerlifting back when I was younger, doing CrossFit and things like that, learning body mechanics, how to lift correctly, this, that, and the other. So a lot of that still stands. But that being said, between work and kids and everything else, I've thrown my shoulder out at least 4 or 5 times. I'm pretty close to just lethal weaponing it back into place. It's just kind of one of those situations. So especially where I do all of my work solo. You need to be smart about what you're doing. So what I'm going to do, we're going to use this side as our template for what we're doing. And once again, I forgot to grab gloves, but I got this handy Bluetooth mic so you can still hear me the entire time I'm away. This is one of those things where I'm sure other butchers can watch this and go, that's the wrong way to do it. That's fine. That's the nice thing about being a butcher is there's more than one way to do a whole bunch of stuff. And this is what has worked for me over the 2 years of me being in business and processing customers' livestock solo. This is just how I've worked it out. So we're going to go ahead, take our knife, and we're going to separate the forequarter first. Also, before I say anything, as you can see, you can't see because of the camera angle, everything I'm doing is hanging off the bucket. Not the safest thing in the world. It really isn't. I don't love to do it, but it's how I have everything set up. For somewhat of a safety precaution, you can see it right here is the end of my cradle for hanging beef. Again, is it going to stop this bucket from coming down? Probably not. Is it going to slow it a little bit? Yes. It's calculated risk. You need to be comfortable with your equipment, comfortable with what you're doing, but always be open to the fact that something could catastrophically go wrong. Super important. So, we are going to start. We're going to take the forequarter off. We're going to move 5 ribs up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to make our first incision. And we're going to come around here, separate the brisket. We're going to come around on this side and finish the cut along the chuck. So, I'm going to bring you over here just to show you for a second. You know you've made this cut correctly when you see you have cut part of the shoulder blade off. This part is all cartilage, fairly easy to cut through, so that's a good marker for you. All right, we're already starting to snap on there, so we're going to go ahead and jump on this. Now, if I had remembered my rope, what I would do at this point is make a cut here and make a decent loop on it and bring it up here. So we're going to use this today. I'm going to go ahead, get that in there, and what we're going to do is, actually I'm going to go down one more just to get better hold on that. The other reason is you can feel your ribs up here. So right now what I'm holding is the last rib on the short loin. So I'm going to go right below that. I am going to use my knife again and make an incision right under that rib. Essentially, you just want to get it to the point where your hooks are going to connect or your rope is going to connect. Because what this is going to do is it's going to hold all the weight of this forequarter. Put that knife away. So we're going to pop that in there and set that hook up right there. So spin it a little bit so you can hopefully see. You can see right now they're not connected and it's a little wonky just because the hooks are rigid. It works a little better with the rope, like I said. I'm planning on doing a second part of this video with pork, and I'll show you kind of a different aspect on how to do that. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our Sawzall and cut the rest of this spine. All right. So before I cut the sternum on that, I just want to show you. So now that hook is holding up that. It's still connected there at the sternum, so we're going to cut that real quick. Don't move. All right, so now that guy's free hanging. What I'm actually going to do is start the tractor back up and lift this up a little bit higher. Because once again, you can come down here and lift with your legs and more than likely lift with your back because you're not paying attention and hurt yourself. But what I'm going to do is raise this up so I can literally walk up to it like a briefcase and grab it. So we're going to go ahead and get the tractor going. I'm going to make sure the scale's on inside, and we're going to get this going. All right, so now that that's lifted up, scale's on inside, what I'm going to do is push this out of the way slightly, give me a little bit more room, and I'm going to get a hold of the hook here, and I'm going to grab it right down here, squat down, lift up, and not grab it because I can't see it. All right. So we will get underneath it, and now we're loose. We're going to go for a walk. This guy is about, this is not proper lifting technique. Don't lift a forequarter with a camera on a tripod. Don't suggest it. All right, so if I had to guess, this forequarter is sitting around 85 to 90 pounds. So now we got it on the scale. Not that you can see that. Hi. Easy. All right. So we got our forequarter. And I was wrong. We're looking at 119 pounds. So I'm going to go ahead, write that down. The reason it's super important to get all these weights right is because that's how I charge my customers. I charge them £1 pound on hang weight, so obviously I need to have proper weights. So we're going to go ahead, get this cooler door open, and what I am going to do is we're going to lift this up a little bit higher, and we are once again going to come at it from this angle. And let's see if I can get both of these shots in one. I might be able to. All right, cool. So we're going to flip this around, bones away from you, because that is the most stable part. I'm going to get on it. And I'm going to lower the winch down a little bit with me holding the weight. Lift that up, walk in here, get up, put it on the bar. All right, so there's your first forequarter. I'm going to try to move it over just a little bit. Perfect. Woo! That's always fun. Who's the gym? All right, so we're going to do the rib plate. So what I'm going to do with this, we're going to take some butcher's twine. We're going to take a decent size rib of it. We're going to double it up. Again, you're able to do this on the rib because, again, this rib is probably going to dress out at about, that was 119. So this rib is probably going to be about 40 pounds. So this is the thicker butcher's twine. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tie it off at the end here. And then we'll open it up like this, twist it over, and just kind of make a loop like this. So we'll get back out. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and get this other chuck off just so I'm not unbalanced. So I'm going to circle back. Once we get to the rim, I'll pull you guys back in. Okay. So that guy was a little bit big. That was about 127 pounds. So that one took a little bit of doing. All right, so what we're going to do now is separate this rib plate. And we'll make sure the suet is out of the way. We already removed the hanger and put it in with the other organs and offals. So with this, we're going up 7 ribs. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make our cut, follow that rib all the way up. And you're going to hit a section of the rib that is cartilage, and you're going to be able to, usually, it's going to lie to me, it's going to make me a lie today. There it is. Be able to easily cut through it, and you're going to leave about 3 inches or so of meat holding it on at the end. Then on this side, we're going to cut all the way to the spine. And we're going to separate this. All right. So now we have this that we made. We're going to come in here, make an incision past the skirt steak. This is your skirt steak, so come past it. We're going to make an incision right here. And try to do this as neat as possible. Once again, the correct way to do this is to have a nice big old chunk of polycord and be able to do all this stuff on. But once again, poor planning, here we are. So now we have that right there. I'm going to go make sure the scale is on and ready to take this and get another hook. All right, that'll work. Once again, this is probably going to be about a 40 to 45 pound chunk of meat. So this one is by far easier to deal with. And this one, you literally do just handle it like a briefcase. So I've got my hook put in. I'm holding on like this. And we're going to finish this incision on this side. All right. So now, like I said, we can just walk around with it. Hey, this is a lot safer. All right. So, scale is on. What did I say? 56 pounds. 56 and a half. So we'll just call it 56. All right. So now, like once again, this one's pretty easy and self-explanatory. Open up this door too so you can see. We're going to go ahead and pop this one right in between those 2 chucks. The nice thing about doing it with the polycord is that you can angle these forequarters in a better way so that you can fit both forequarters and both ribeyes on one bar. Obviously, I can't do that right now. So we're going to go ahead and get that other ribeye in. We'll see you in a second. All right, so now we're at the fun part. We're at the hindquarters. Again, if this was like a 900-pound beef, I would go ahead and I would separate the short loin off of the hindquarter right here, just to make my life easier, because that, on a 900-pound beef, the short loin could weigh 80, 90 pounds. If I had to guess, these hindquarters are going to be around 150, 160 pounds. So, again, you need to be careful on how you're lifting, because when you will screw yourself up. I have screwed myself up on multiple occasions handling these guys, and I don't want to. So if I can help you guys kind of figure this out, and again, this is a real down and dirty way of doing it. Like most of my videos. You're never going to look at, I'm never going to be in a lab coat just like, this is the exact way on how to do this. Because that's not me. This is how I have figured out how to do it, and how I continue to do it. And if this helps somebody who's processing their own beef for the first time, I hope it does. So, the way I do this, right here you have your pelvis. What I like to do is kind of get underneath it right here. So you can see my hook is right in the bottom of the pelvis. Get underneath it, put your thumb right in here in the tendon under your hook. And the way I have my hook set up, this hook on the spreader bar is pretty much the exact width of the hook, and the only option it has is to go up. I don't have any stoppers in front of it or anything. So get up underneath it and lift. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this one in the cooler. The next side, I'm going to move the camera in here so you can see all that. So we're coming in hot with this guy. It is essentially the same lift, just on the opposite side. I am right-handed, and the majority of my maneuverable weight is going into my right hand to be able to control the hook and where it's going. That's important. My left arm is obviously strong because I do this, but I only need it to hold the weight. I don't know if I'm really explaining that correctly, but I need to be able to maneuver that hook into different spots to be able to get it on the scale or on the bar, things like that. So I'd rather have my stronger hand handling that. So that last side was 162 pounds, and gosh darn it, I split that just right. This one is also 162 pounds. So we're going to go ahead, get it here in the cooler, and we'll bring it in here. Ooh. All right, we'll angle that up so you can see that. Hopefully I don't hit you. All right. So we're going to lower this winch down a little bit, not that you can see it. Bend the knee, get up underneath it. And of course, this hook is giving me a hard time. There! We're coming in hot. That is where that milk crate comes in handy. So now we have a full beef hanging. I will spray it down in a minute. What I use to spray it down, we'll get out of here so you can hear me a little better. What I spray all my carcasses in the cooler with is a vinegar and water mix. I've explained this a bunch, but if you're watching this for the first time, let's talk about it. It is a vinegar and water mix. Vinegar is a natural antibacterial. So, catch my breath. If there is bacteria on the meat or things like that, the vinegar will help stunt the growth of all that, make everything a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. So, I hope this video was helpful. Like I said, I am planning on doing a part 2 with lifting pigs. So that'll be tomorrow. More likely it'll come out next week though. I am kind of trying to regulate my videos coming out. I know me and Tyler talked about it on Meet the Critters on Saturday. When you first start YouTube, you get into a rhythm of pounding out as many videos as you can. Every other day, you get that dopamine hit. It's awesome. We're keeping going with this. We're going to be doing this for a long time. It is a marathon, not a sprint. So we are dropping it down to about 1 video a week. plus the podcast, unless something crazy happens. So I hope this was enjoyable for you guys. I hope it helped. I hope it made sense, and we will see you next time.